My apologies, gang. Let's see if you guys come back now. That better, Jonathan? Is that better? Oh, man. My apologies, gang. Looks like I went through a spotty area. Went through a spotty area with some bad reception. So I just reset it back. But got my weighted vest on. It's 50 pounds. Doing some rucksacking after my exercise. But that was a pretty remarkable come from behind win yesterday. Yeah, it did feel like 2009. Almost felt like 98 also, right? And that was great. Really, really great. That's a type of win that we needed the Yankees to show that they could, put forth, right? And they did it, and it didn't have to be 100 runs or anything like that. So this is a 6-5 win. Come from behind, from being no hit through 8, or into the 8th, say. So those that are in, sorry about that. I reset. Looks like I walked through some poor spotty service area. But back to this, the needs are still the needs despite this win, right? And, like I mentioned, Jeff Passan, he did report yesterday that they have prioritized Eugenio Suarez. And potentially, maybe, they'll see if they can add a starter to him in a multiplayer trade. So, what the price is going to be, I don't know. But any of these pieces that come back here will be pure rentals, right? It will be pure rental pieces. But nevertheless, it would still cost a decent package. So, and again, every day we go by that none of these moves are put forth by any team, right? I mean, the Rays and the Orioles made a trade yesterday. The Rays acquired a relief pitcher from the Orioles. Okay. That's probably one of these sneaky good trades that the Rays are going to make to fortify their bullpen. Because they always make these under-the-radar trades that just make them better. So, but aside from that, no one's being moved right now. Right? We don't know. I mean, I think the issue right now, too, is the GMs of the team they haven't put their players on the block yet. So we really don't know who the hell's available. That doesn't mean Cashman's not working the phones, because he is. But, Anthony, what's happening? Listen to the Yankees. I appreciate that, Anthony. Appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you, sir. God bless you, man. When I can't, I usually go live around 10, 11 o'clock. Well, live or put out a video 10 or 11. But if I have a busy day, and I know it's going to be busy ahead of me, I try to spend a little bit of time with you guys and gals in the morning before the day starts, right? I just finished working out. I took you folks through a little bit of the workout before we did this walk. And just so you could see, there's a couple of folks. I won't name their names because they're not worth naming, right? And they're not even telling me this. They're telling other people this. They're like weak and pathetic because I'm breathing hard and all this stuff. And I invite them to come and try to do the training with me. There's a hospital not that far away. So if you happen to need it, I'd be more than happy to take you to when you can handle the workout. Right? So. Duran, what's good? Yeah. They are 4-6 in the last 10 games. That's right. This is a good start, 4-game winning streak, but they've got to build on this. Now we have another tough series against the Cubs. It's not going to be any cakewalk, right? Rodon pitching tonight, Max Fried pitching tomorrow. So if there's any chance for us to win this series, it's tonight and tomorrow. I will be at the game tomorrow. So I'll put out some lives and shorts and stuff like that from the stadium. And I'm very much looking forward to being there. Keith. Yeah, man, that was the win of the year for the Yankees. Damn right it was. One great take, whole lineup. Yeah. And again, speaking of lineup too, let's just say they had a bat like Suarez. It's going to push everybody down, meaning somebody is better in that 7, 8, 9 part of the lineup where the Yankees have been the weakest. So that 7, 8, 9 is going to add something better. Speed, athleticism, versatility, power, whatever it might be. So, and maybe it'll take a little bit of the load off of Anthony Volpe, who could use a little break during this All-Star break, right? And he's clearly in his own head. But I got to give him credit. That slide last night was phenomenal. Head first slide. And that move he made to duck the tag. Brilliant. When Aaron Judge hit that sac fly and he tagged up to win the game. Fantastic, man. And I'm glad he was the one to do it. He needed a feel-good moment, right? Yeah, Deron, I mean, they've prioritized Suarez. We'll see if it actually happens. We'll see what the price tag's going to be. But that's right from Jeff Passan. So, my guess, if you want like two, and they're all going to be rentals. Zach Gallen, Darryl Kelly, Suarez, they're all rentals this year. And they're all free agents. But this also gives the Yankees a sample size of Suarez. If he plays well, maybe they'll give him another year or two in a deal, right? They'll know what they have. Instead of getting somebody with multiple years in his contract, this gives them a little bit of a trial run to see whether Suarez is going to work out, right? And which I can see the logic in that too, you know? And the fact of the matter is, offensively, there's no other batter that I can think of that would move the needle offensively as much as Suarez does. That might be available at the deadline. Nobody. So that's the guy to get. And then if you get him, and let's say you get one of those starters, then you can just laser focus on the bullpen after that, right? Just whatever it might be. You know, I'm not trading Spencer Jones for Emmanuel Clase. Okay. Yeah. There's rumors, but chatter that he might be on the block, that John Duran from the Twins might be on the block, but we're not hearing it from the Guardians or the Twins. We're hearing it from beat writers and other folks. And even folks that say, oh, the Yankees need to do this, Yankees need to do that. Okay. Beagle, what's happening, my man? Oh, yeah. All right, man. Let's go. Hope you add a very beloved, valuable member to the family, Beagle. I mean, that's right. Who's that? Dang. The compressors, man. That's right, man. I don't have any compressors, but I got this on. This is my 50-pound weighted vest. I'm doing some rucksacking this morning after the workout that I just did. So for those that were with me in the workout, it give you a little idea of what I do before I come out here and do this. Functional stuff, strength training stuff, mobility stuff, right? Gotta stay fit. And like I said, early morning is the only time I can do it. Not doing it at night. Now, get up, stretch, and rock and roll, and start my day off the right way. And then I can go back and look and say, damn, I did all that work this morning. Every single day. I usually go to the gym, too, on Saturday mornings for like 2 hours, but I won't be going tomorrow because of the game. But I'll still train at the house and get that done, just in a compressed manner. So, you know what I mean? Now, Beagle, I hope you wind up with somebody, Beagle, like a pooch that's going to, you're going to be able to love for a long time. It's going to make you happy. Sun, god damn. Make a turn here, make a turn there. The sun's like blazing in my face. Now I'm going to make a turn in a second. The sun will be gone. So I'll put the sunglasses back up. But back to the Yankees. I mean, if you were to make, let's just say you were to get a bat, a starter, and one reliever, who would they be? I just did a mile in the weighted vest. Who would they be, gang? Put them in the comments. And I'm gonna grab a seat in a minute here. I usually do like a 2-mile loop without this, but I'm gonna do a little over the mile with this. And then the workout itself would be total about, I did about 40 minutes of hard training, so for those that haven't run or walk with these weighted vests, they'll make you breathe hard. And you try to do some of the things that I did before the weighted vest, you'll definitely see why I breathe hard. But I wanted to give you folks an idea of what I do. Because you have these folks, for some reason, like to criticize me. Not to my face, but to other people. How pathetic I look because I'm breathing hard. Because I'm doing this type of stuff. All right. Oh yeah, let me take this off really quickly. 1 second, gang. This is me, by the way. This is me in the flesh. All right. For those that don't know what I look like, that only see my face. All right. I can sit and hang out with you guys and gals for a little bit before I go in and chaos starts. Sandy. Well, you know what? If you can get Sandy Alcantara, the problem with Sandy Alcantara is that they're going to have to sell low on him because of the way he's performing. They're not going to get George Lombard or Spencer Jones, nor should they. The way he's performing, big arm or not, if you're not performing, you can't sell high on these guys. All right? Now, yeah, look, if I mean, Schiller's are getting a second start. I don't know what day he's going to. I think he's going to pitch Monday or Tuesday. They've already said he's getting a second start, so which gives them more time to figure out which pitchers to pursue heading into the deadline, right? And then they'll have the ability to make the decision as to, okay, what do we do with Luis Hill when he comes back? Because he starts rehab assignment Sunday. The time clock officially starts this Sunday, so 3 days from today. No, 2 days from today, excuse me. And then Schlittler, right, there's some depth there. And also, they have Stroman, too. Now, do they trade Stroman? If they can't, do they keep him as depth? Because he has 3 games in a row now. He's kept them in the game. Okay, he's shown them that. Sweating like a pig, by the way. That's what happens when you do this type of stuff in 80-degree weather. Blue goes in. Carlos, Coach Carl, how are you? I just, I don't know if you saw me this morning. I did a functional workout. I took the folks through a functional workout, strength training and stuff, and I just did a walk with this. This is my 50-pound weighted vest. Just did a mile loop in that too. But to answer your question, Seth Lugo might be an option. But we don't know either. I mean, his name's being floated. So is this guy, what's his, Michael Franco. But again, from the Royals, Lugo's 37 too, so he's one of these older pitchers. So Franco, okay. That also doesn't change their needs for the bullpen. They're still going to need to add relievers no matter what. So, yeah. Weighted ankle, yeah. I do. Yesterday I do those as part of my training. I do some, leg up, leg extensions, functional movements to strengthen my hip flexors and my glutes and my hips, my adductors, as part of my training. I do that before I get into the strength training to kind of activate the muscles, the secondary or the ancillary muscles, before I do the more aggressive stuff. It is a rucksack. I mean, I've got a rucksack too, but it's easier. This is easier to put on and take off, and it's easier to kind of work around when I'm training. But this is rucksacking. A weighted book bag, weighted vest. That's 50 pounds. So, and I'm 170 soaking wet. So I just walked as like I was 220, which you feel it, man. And the heart rate, you feel it in the legs, you feel it in the hips, right? It's a tough workout, especially if you do like 20 minutes of functional stuff. And you saw I didn't really take any rest in between anything either. I just kept going and going and going. What? Well, that's the key, right? What's the price going to be for, let's just say, Lugo and Franco, or Suarez and Merrill Kelly, or IKF and Mitch Keller? I mean, Paul Skeens is not happening. I'd be shocked, beyond shocked, if he got traded, right? But that would be a bigger trade than the Rafael Devers trade, who's now sounded like he's becoming a problem for the Giants. So I think the Red Sox are very happy that they got rid of him, and the Giants hate the whole contract. Yes, sir. That's why I do a lot of functional strength. I do a lot of individual leg extensions, and I do a lot of exercises before I put this on to activate my hips, my legs, and everything. And I'm not running in there with this weighted vest. I did a brisk walk in it. I did a mile loop. But you're right, you gotta watch the knees. That's the reason why I do a lot of functional. Like in the beginning, I was doing lunges with twists, to kind of activate the quads, activate other muscles before I did stuff like this. Because you're right, you put this on and go out the door, you can have achy knees, you can have an achy lower back too. So, Jake Bird and Ryan McMahon, yeah, that's another trade. Like Ryan McMahon, he wouldn't move the needle offensively as much as Suarez would, but, and his contract it's not even onerous. I think he's got 2 years beyond this year left on his contract. So, but I see the logic in Suarez because he gives him a trial run for a couple of months. If he plays well, then maybe they can re-up with him for a year or two on big money, right? So, which makes room for them to not have to rush George Lombard up here. So, and then they can decide also, okay, is this a good combination? His right-handed bat, this is a good, output with the lineup along with Jazz here and so on and so forth. Like, it gives them options. So, but again, that doesn't mean I would pay more because he's a rental. No. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Devers is just, they had an opportunity to bring in Will Clark, a first base great, the Giants, and he's a great player, just a great guy altogether, and he dipped out on him 3 times, dodged him 3 times, avoided him. Like, what are you doing, man? You said before you got traded there that you would be willing to work on first base and learn, and now you're backing out on your word. So, and Will Clark is one of the better first basemen in our generation. He's a great guy to learn from, right? So, what are you doing over there, Devers? But I'm sure the Red Sox are like, yeah, we saved it. So the Red Sox are in a position to spend at the deadline and this offseason. Now, yeah, Finnegan. Yeah, I mean, Finnegan might be a piece. Helsley might be a piece. But those guys are all rentals. Like, I like Jake Bird because he hasn't even started arbitration yet. He starts arbitration next year just like Volpe. So there's 3 more years until he becomes a free agent. He's a big arm in the bullpen. He's a guy I would give a little bit more in a package for. And if you can get him without McMahon, imagine you get Bird from the Rockies and you still get Suarez from the Diamondbacks. Like, And then you add a starting pitcher. That's one heck of a deadline. And if you can add another arm behind that, even knowing that Fernando Cruz and Mark Leiter Jr. are going to be coming back, right, at some point. Here. That's going to be one heck of a deadline. One heck of a deadline. So, and Brady House, too. Does Brady House have controllable years, Jonathan? I know people talking about Ahmed Rosario, too. Like, he was great at one thing. Like, just like Jesus Rodriguez. He was fantastic, but they both come back down to earth offensively. Look at their stats. They've come back down to earth. You know, Jesus Rodriguez has got a little bit more of a robust offensive profile, but neither one of them is known for their power. But they could be options too. And Rodriguez is probably the only option I would call up. Aside from that, I would add somebody as a major league. Like if you can add Suarez, I'll take him over Jesus Rodriguez. Only because he's already proven, he's already, projected to hit like almost 40 home runs this year. So that's a nice bat you'd add to the rotation. There's no guarantee that Rodriguez can come up here and still mash like he's doing in AAA. And he's not even mashing that much. He's got 3 home runs. Spencer Jones has been up in AAA, 2 weeks, and he has more home runs than Jesus Rodriguez. He's got 5 already, Spencer Jones. He's been here for 2 weeks. That's not a knock on Rodriguez. That's a shout out to Spencer Jones. Big time shout out. By the way, smack the like button, gang, if you haven't done that yet. Greatly appreciate it. House in arbitration. Drafted in 21. Okay. So he's got lots. Okay. So he's got lots of controllable years. Okay. So there's another guy. If he's a reliever, could you get 2 relievers like that? One who's a big arm right now, who's going to be a free agent, and then with controllable years, that would be nice. Imagine getting Finnegan and Jake Bird. Could the Yankees do that? Yeah, probably. The price, no idea. Bird's not going to be cheap. Neither would House either, with all the controllable years. Controllable years has gained a lot more value than it has in years prior. There's a lot of calls for... Well, it's crazy? I have somebody on the inside he says it's a high probability that Spencer Jones get traded. But there's a lot of calls for them to call him up too. So I'm like, I'm not trading him for any rental. None. There's no way in the world. There might be 2 or 3 players in baseball that I would trade Spencer Jones for. That's it. 2 of them are pitchers, and neither one of them is available. So, Skeens and Tarek Skubal, and those guys, Tigers are not moving on from Skubal, especially how good they are. No way. And Skeens, as much as he should be moved, he won't. But he will cost probably 5 top 10 prospects, and 3 of them have to be in the top 100. I've said that several times. That's just the way it's going to be. That'll be probably the biggest trade for a pre-R player in the history of baseball. He'll get more than Juan Soto got. So, from the Padres. Yeah, it could be Dominguez, Jones, and Judge is a very tempting outfield. Especially, we'll see what happens with Cody Bellinger. Right? Does he re-up? If he doesn't re-up, if he opts out, then do you give him a qualifying offer? I would, because the qualifying offer is less than he would get, where he would have been paid in the option for 2026. So, and if he moves on, signs elsewhere, you thank him, and then you can do that, or you can pursue Kyle Tucker, right? It leaves the Yankees options. But if he does opt back into you, potentially move him to first base, right? But then what happens with Ben Rice if you do that? So there's some questions that they're going to need to be asked. So the Yankees are having depth. Having depth is a good thing, but it can also pose a problem too. So Finnegan and House as a reliever on a third base. Imagine you get Suarez and those 2 guys from the Nationals, Jonathan. If you get Suarez and Merrill Kelly and those 2 relievers, that's a monster deadline. A monster deadline. And again, those that don't know, I'll be live on deadline day for much of the day. I'll be reporting this stuff live time. So, and the Yankees play that afternoon. I think they start at 1 or 1:30. So, right during the game, if I can, maybe I'll play-by-play it while we, are keeping track of the lives of the trade deadline too. I'll see if I could do that. No. But yeah. Belly got a Q. Oh, okay. So he got a qualifying offer. So all right, so you can't do that then. Well, there's that. So if he opts out, then you either re-sign him to a bigger deal or you don't. And if he opts out, if he opts out and you re-sign him to a bigger deal, then that probably means you're going to move on from Spencer Jones. So that's a decision that needs to be made. Thank you for the QO information. I wasn't sure that he got a qualifying offer now. Thank you, Duran and Jonathan. Approach the Yankees for an extension. He probably would. I mean, he's got. I think it's a player option for next year, right? Yeah. It sounds as if he wants to stay. So this would be the 28th championship. Beagle. Selling off for, yeah, exactly. And like I said, like, Suarez is not going to work. I mean, you'll have to give a nice piece for him, or nice two pieces, but I'm not giving up Spencer Jones. Like, I would happily give up Roderick Arias as part of a package, because he's blocked by George Lombard anyway. So I would give him up, and I would even give up Oswald Peraza, right? So here's your guy that can step in right now for Suarez, and here's a guy that you can develop to either replace Peraza or complement him at a different position, because he is versatile, and he's a switch hitter, and he's fast. So you're giving him a good, really, really, really good, highly talented. He was the Yankees' top international draft signing a couple years ago. But he's blocked by George Lombard. So, the deadline. No, sorry, the deadline's the 31st, July 31st. So, and that was also the deadline that they put on DJ LeMahieu, but now they've released them. So they released them 3 weeks ahead of time. But I got to give credit to DJ. He went to them and said that he couldn't handle third base physically. So, which I guess it made the decision a little bit easier. But nevertheless, you could tell Boone was miserable to have to tell him. So, but just the way that it is. Okay. Deadline day is the 31st of July. Yeah, too. TJ Rumfield is another one. Corner infielder. Yeah. I mean, that's a reasonable position too. Like Beagle, I'm not giving up Spencer Jones unless I'm getting a really good piece with controllable years. The same applies to Lombard. Like, unless you can get Jose Ramirez, I'm not giving up Lombard, right? Unless you can get one of those big pitchers, I'm not giving up Jones. So, otherwise, I'd be happy to wait for these guys, continue to let them develop. And for those that haven't seen, concerned about Spencer Jones' strikeout K rate, right? Well, the month before he got promoted to AAA, he cut it from 40% down to like 22%. And now he's under 30% in AAA. His K rate's about 27%, so it's lower so far. So he's making an adjustment, which is good. And he's hitting with power. His stats are showing. And he's hitting the ball in the gap. He had a 2-run single yesterday or 2-run double. So he's putting the ball in play a lot. And he's utilizing his speed and his power. So power like that, doesn't come by that often. Remember, people were poo-pooing on Judge when he first got drafted and saying, Judge is going to be this, he's going to be that, and blah, blah, blah. But he wasn't a top 100 prospect either. So you let people's argument, Jones is not top 100 prospect. Neither was Judge. Okay? Excuse me. Lugo is 35. Yeah, he's an older one. But again, I'm not giving up Spencer Jones for Seth Lugo. There's no freaking way. But if you can get Lugo, depending on who you get for him, okay, he'll be a back end of the rotation guy, just like Merrill Kelly will be a back end of the rotation guy. So, yeah, Jones is mashing right now at AAA. He's doing a lot of stuff at AAA. He's showing that the transition and the promotion was justified, which is, we needed to see that. A big time Cup King, big time 2 Cups of Joe, massive win. Look, they went from being no-hit into the 8th inning to a come-from-behind victory, walk-off style. And the last time the Yankees did something like that was 1977, being no-hit that deep into a game, down by that many runs, coming from behind to win. 1977. You remember what they did in 1977? They won a championship in 1978. And this is the type of come-from-behind win that the Yankees needed. And I love the fact that Anthony Volpe was the ghost runner who got moved over to third, who slid the scoring. He scored the winning run with that slide. Was awesome. The slide was amazing. Yeah, that was a feel-good moment for Anthony Volpe. And he was close to getting a walk-off hit in the 9th. Get the ball into the warning track in center field. Like, that would have been really cool, but I'm glad he got the walk-off in a different capacity, but he was part of it. So he needs that feel-good moment. Right now, I think he can use a couple of days break heading into the All-Star break too. So just rest his mind, his body, just recalibrate and, you know, come back strong in the second half. Refocused. Yeah, TJ Rumfield did play third. Yeah, he could be a target, a trade target. I doubt. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be part of the future plans, but I mean, I think Jesus Rodriguez would be ahead of him. Spencer Jones would be ahead of him. So, but you never know. Like, things can change. But he could also be traded. Like, just like Roderick Harris could be traded. Ben Hess could be traded. Like, Bryce Cunningham could be. We have no idea. Right? No. Mets, yeah, well, exactly. And again, look, last year we were 0-6 against the Mets. This year we were 3-3. So we had a better 2025 against the Mets than we did 2024. So that's an encouraging sign. Yeah, the deadline is on the 31st. So we are exactly 3 weeks away. I think it's 20 days. Was today the 11th, right? So 20 days from the deadline. I think the deadline's on a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Who should be in the top 30 prospects? Jesus Rodriguez, he's 30. Rumfield, I don't think he's in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, I wouldn't have a problem if he was. But Jesus Rodriguez is 30. Same to you, Kenneth. God bless, brother. 20 days to the deadline, right around the corner. These allergies are starting to get to me. Keys to the city. Well, Bellinger's got a 15-game hitting streak. The last Yankee to do that was Derek Jeter. So he's playing well right now. He's playing extremely well. 5 top shell starting pitching prospects. They do. They're in the lower ends of the system. We got to get them up there to go along with Schlittler, and Schlittler is definitely a high upside prospect. So hopefully they keep him around. He's a big guy. He draws physical comparisons to Garrett Cole. Looks like him. He's a very tall guy, so he's got a downward sloping release point with his fastball. And so it's a little bit of a different plan of attack for hitters. And he said, looks like he's tougher on righties than he is on lefties, right now at least. But that's a pretty good start. He kept his composure, and he's getting a second start. So hopefully, and I don't know who the Yankees get after the Chicago Cubs. I have to look at the schedule, but he would be facing that team. Yeah, no hit through 7. Against Brian Wu is one of the better young right-handed pitchers in all of baseball. He is good. Leiter's got more control. So the only way I can see him being let go is if they trade him. Which I don't know if is going to happen. They might wait until he comes back, because when he's healthy, and they had to overuse him, unfortunately, because so many other relievers got hurt. So, and unfortunately, now he's got a stress fracture in the left fibula, which is in the lower extremities in the leg. Fibular head in the left leg is what it's called. And I don't know. He's relatively productive when he's healthy and not being overused. So, but would I be surprised if they moved on from him? No. If you can get a Finnegan, if you can get like 2 of those types of guys, then I could see him easier moving on from Leiter, or making him part of a trade for another team. Maybe you can send him to the Diamondbacks, who need a reliever, as part of a trade for Suarez. You could. Maybe. Right? Grisham, I don't know. I know they were quietly shopping him, but I don't know to what extent and how aggressive they were. But he would be hard to trade. Like, he's as good of a 4th outfielder as you can get. Kevin Moss and Great Bird. Imagine that. Oh, Kevin Moss. Wow, you took it back. He was, for those that don't know Kevin Moss, he was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to replace Don Mattingly in first base. And he came up and lit the world on fire for, what do you say, Carl, maybe a month? Like Shane Spencer-like, and then he fell off the face of the earth. He must have hit like 15, 20 home runs in a month, and people were like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, disappeared. Never to be heard from again. Kevin Moss, you took me back right there, Carl. And Greg Bird's another one. He unfortunately kept getting hurt. But I'll never forget that home run. I was at that game. He hit that home run off of Andrew Miller in the playoffs. That was awesome. Awesome. He should also be Yeah, well, I think they're gonna add a starter, probably the back end of the rotation, unless they somehow get Joe Ryan from the Twins. But I don't know because they have Garrett Cole coming back. You have Cam Schlittler, probably going to be vying for a rotation spot in the spring next year. So, and you have Luis Hill back. So, I don't know if they're going to go for a front end of the rotation starter, unless one of the guys that becomes available somehow. Brian Cashman can pull off some type of heist. But, well, the draft pool, yeah. I mean, so if you like, and I'm gonna profile a couple guys today. So I'll be probably live later to do this. If I'm not live, I'll do it. I'll definitely just put out a video and just release it. But they were initially profiled as targeting 2 bats, maybe a corner infield or something like that, or an infielder altogether. But now they're linked to 2 pitchers. Again, who they draft can also help them decide. And the draft is this weekend. It could also help them decide who becomes trade bait. And if you draft a college pitcher, then it's easier to trade a pitcher. If you draft a college bat, it's easier to trade a bat because these guys are a little bit closer developmentally to the majors as some of the players they have now. So, do I hate Josh Naylor? No, I don't hate people. That's a wasteful energy. So, but he's going to be free agent after this year too. I don't know. Him, you got Murakami from Japan. We don't know who they're going to target. There's so many names being floated. Morning. Got a lot of friendly neighbors. They'll call up Andrew Velasquez. I mean, they might, but I doubt he can't hit. Yeah, I think they're going to really make a run for Suarez, Jonathan. But you keep bringing up good names, man. Cease and Gallen. Underperforming. Yeah, they are underperforming. King is hurt. I think he's still injured. So I would stay away from any of those guys. Merrill Kelly's got a better postseason pedigree than Gallen does. So he's a guy I would try to add to Suarez. But that's just me. What would be my perfect trade deadline? Perfect, Brendan Donovan. Third base, but since he's not available, it's probably Suarez. Third base, then Jake Bird from the Rockies. Maybe Finnegan or one of those other relievers from the Nationals. As a house, Jonathan mentioned. That would be a phenomenal deadline. And could you imagine a lot of stuff happens on deadline day? Deadline day, I have a feeling is going to be crazy. There's not much that happen, but a lot of stuff can happen this coming week. You just don't know. I didn't expect that trade yesterday with the Rays and the Orioles, but the Rays traded for a relief pitcher from the Orioles. So, what's up? Sharma's in the house. What's good? Kenneth. But yeah, that would be my perfect trade deadline. What would be yours? We signed John Candelario for depth. Maybe he'll be a stopgap too up here. And that's the other thing too. Why do you sign Candelario? They're gonna bring him up. My guess is if they don't, if they're unable to get Suarez in, they're gonna use a combination of Candelario and some of these other guys at third base, and they'll keep Jazz at second. Clase, I don't know. I mean, it's a big piece, but it really depends on the price. And I don't know how many years. Does he have 3 years left on his contract? I think. And he's young. He's 26, Clase. So, but why would the Guardians move him? Is the question. It'd be kind of crazy. But Clase, I mean, I don't know when he's a free agent. Is it 2029, 2030? But if you take him away from the Guardians, then let Matt Blake work with him. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I would be hesitant to give Spencer Jones up for him. But I would give him Ben Hess. I would give him something like that, yeah. And even Roderick Arias. So, but do they even need an outfield prospect like Spencer Jones? Yeah, I mean, I think the GM of the Orioles has to be busy, has to be active. I think they're gonna make several moves. What type of moves? I'm not sure. Bird and Karros, yeah. You get if you get 2 relievers in one trade, both with multiple years of control, then that's because again, Devin Williams is gonna be free agent at the end of the year. So is Luke Weaver. So we have to have some type of plan if they happen to lose both of them, right? And we have to. And if you get these guys with controllable years, that's a good thing. And Karras is a third baseman, yeah. He's got controllable years too. So, but I think Suarez is going to be the guy. But if you package, if you can get a package, you can get a package. But I would take somebody like that, especially if he has positional versatility. Like if Karras, what if you get Karras and you still get Suarez? Can you float Karras around the infield as depth as a bench player? He can play on a regular basis too, while Suarez is the starter. And then if Suarez doesn't come back next year, then you have Karras in his place, right? So, yeah, Woodruff, has he even pitched this year? I would avoid Brandon Woodruff. Aaron. Go Yankees. Suarez, Bird from Colorado. That'd be a nice deadline, Kenneth. Yeah. Yeah, one start. And people, yeah. Whoever would pay $20 million for guys made one start. Like, come on. No way. No way. Heck no. I'd rather get Andrew Heaney in that case. But watch Heaney. I think Heaney's... Watch the Astros quietly add somebody like Heaney. And Heaney pitched well over there. I could see I think the Astros are going to add a piece. I think the Tigers are going to add a piece. I think the Blue Jays are going to add a piece. I would watch out for Freddie Peralta and the Detroit Tigers. You pair him behind School, that's going to be a nasty 1-2 in that rotation. Nasty. Yeah, when healthy, but the problem is is he healthy and can he stay healthy? That's a big financial risk for a team to take. $20 million. My guess is he'll get his buyout from Milwaukee and then become a free agent, because I don't think any team is going to give him $20 million, at least per year. Yeah, so that's the guy they got yesterday, Mark. Yep, relief pitcher. Yep, they quietly make good moves, and he'll want to go over there and being a solid performer for them. So exactly, when healthy. Clase Angier, oh my God. Whoa. That's what it would probably cost. Dominguez, Spencer. Why? So I would try to move Lombard instead of Dominguez. I wouldn't give him two outfielders. I would give him an infielder who can replace J-Ram and keep either Dominguez or Jones. That's what I would do, Coach Carl. But I think you're right. That's probably what it would cost. And that would be a monster trade. A monster trade. That would be bigger than the Devers trade. Bigger than the Devers trade. Good morning, Steven. I'm going to wrap this up in a second, too. I'm going to get inside and got kids to get ready for camp. Oh, yeah. Trade deadline day, it's going to be crazy. Again, like I said, for those that don't know, I'll be live on trade deadline day for probably 6 to 8 hours straight. Be feeding you the moves as they come in. Live time. That's going to be awesome. And I will be live at the Yankee game on tomorrow. I'll be at the game. So, live or shorts, do something. Yeah, you'll get some love from Yankee Stadium tomorrow. Yeah, Mark. I don't always get an opportunity to do the early morning stuff, and I don't want to step on other people's toes, but it's nice to be able to do this as a way of kind of calming down for my workout. Now my heart rate's back down, my body's kind of cooling off, so now I can go bring my rucksack back to the garage and come back in the house, wolf down some Gatorade, get a little bit of breakfast in me, and then shower and start the day. But I appreciate you spending some time with me, all of you. Spend a little bit of time with me in the morning. Good morning to all of you too. Well, it depends on the luxury I think the Yankees would have with Suarez, Stephen, is that being a rental means they get a trial run. So if he performs well, then it gives them a better idea whether to extend him or not. If he doesn't play well, then, they'll probably move on from him. But also, with that in mind, being a rental, I'm not giving up a package as if he had 3 years of control left. So that's got to be, I think, factored into it. I think the Yankees do know this. I do know. Gotta stay fit and healthy, Mark. That's right. Gotta get the work done, man. Yep. Gotta get that work done. I do this every day, Monday through Saturday. Okay, Saturday I actually go to the gym. I do some different stuff at the gym, but I won't be at the gym tomorrow because I'm going to the game. So, yeah. Ice bath, not as a cool down, but I have one of those ice baths too that I can hop in. As sometimes I'll just do that to wake up the body and get that going too. I have one of those ice tubs that I'll jump in to wake the whole body up. But that's that's a nice cool down. But I like to gradually get the heart rate down, just to kind of decompress a little bit before I would do the ice bath. And if I have the time, then I'll do the ice bath. And maybe one of these days I'll do it live from the ice bath, just so you can see how torturous the ice bath is, how hard it is. But being a former competitive runner, taking ice baths, and Coach Carl will tell you, but ice baths are not fun. They're necessary, but they're not fun. No. Pereira, yes, I would. Pereira, yes. It depends on the day, Ken. Some days in the morning, some days at night. Tuesday morning is my day of 1,000 kicks. I do all my kicks on Tuesday morning. I'll do that for like 40 minutes straight before I come out and do my cardio walk. So, the cardio walk at the end here, just puts the icing on the cake of the workout that I did. I get the body engaged, the muscles fired up and everything, and then I come out here and do the cardio, get the heart rate up, and let it complement the workout that I just did. But I'm usually training for an hour a day, at least 5 days a week, and then an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours on Saturday. And then I take off Sunday, just enjoy the gains, recover. I just stretch on Sundays. So, yeah. Cramping, the ice baths can, but you have to hydrate too. You have to stretch well and hydrate. Active flexibility I found to be very effective. Hydrating and fueling appropriately can also be helpful in terms of preventing cramping. So, just taking care, like active stretching to me is like spraying WD-40 on the muscles in the joints, right? It's just like lubricating the muscles in the joints before firing them up. I do an active stretch before I go to the dojo, before I do my kicks and stuff like that. Generally, in most dojos, it's static stretching. You're holding stretches for a long period of time. I do an active stretch routine before I go there and get the muscles kind of loosened up and firing up, knowing that I'm going to be doing static stretching and then firing up the muscles again. So the sequence in which you do stuff is important. But ice baths they suck, but they're really good for you. So with that, I'm going to go around and put this rucksack back. Go have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you all. Much love to all of you. Thanks for spending some time with me this morning. And if anything comes out today, you're going to get it here, baby. Just make sure your notifications will turn on. Peace and love to all of you. Let's go Yankees.